Hello and welcome back to the 25Ks in GeoGuessr. This week we're going to be playing the United States. Not a map I'm particularly good at, but I thought I might as well get it out of the way with, And going off of some great results on the map, you can see there like the best score of 6 minutes 47. That's not actually a legitimate game of GeoGuessr. That was a co-op game I played. So that doesn't count as my record, but my record is relatively recent on the Formula G event in week 10 on the United States that was played on this map. I got a perfect score in 9 minutes. I think it was 43. I do not have any illusions that that wasn't just, a really lucky seed for me, and I'm not going to beat that time right now. Not even close, probably. I'll be happy if I get 25k in under like 30 minutes. But going off of that, I might at least go into it with some confidence. There is such a huge amount of information that you could learn regarding the US that I just don't know, and there is no, well, there would be a point, but I didn't learn all of it for this video because that would, require me to study for like a day or so. And I mean like generally like 15 hours of studying. What I will do is I will mention all the things that you can study. I might as well do that right now while we're at it. Things that you can study to help you in the US. License plates. A lot of different colors there. What I personally know is that New York has yellow ones. Not only the colors are things that you can study, but also there's an area about, I'd say, I don't know how many it is actually. I'd say about 20 states, primarily in the southeast, but also going up a bit around the eastern coast, that do not require you to have front license plates on your car. So you can already sort of, maybe not narrow it down a lot, but you can exclude a pretty big area of the United States if you see a lot of cars without front license plates. Then, going away from license plate, you've got my favorite phone numbers, area codes. The United States has about, I don't know, probably like 200 different area codes that are in no system at all. Well, they probably have a system, but it's not one that you can just learn. It's not very, instinctive. There are some states, I think there's like 6 or 7 or something like that, maybe even more, that have only one area code. So if you're going to start learning area codes, it's probably best to start with them and just memorize those. But there are also states, like I think when we had Pennsylvania in Reddit League, I think Pennsylvania has like 5 or 6 in one state. Maybe even more now that I think about it. So learning all of those is just a gargantuous task. However, if you do know all of them, they will help you a lot. After that, you also have highway, or not necessarily highway, but also just generally road number plates or signs that have particular shapes dependent on the state they're in. There are a lot of, I say a lot, there's like 10 states or so that share the same for, just state roads, share the same symbol, which is just, a square. Not a square, what am I talking about? A circle. But there's also quite a few unique ones. Quite a few are pretty self-explanatory. Like Washington is pretty self-explanatory. Ohio has a beehive, as far as I'm as far as I remember. Colorado is very self-explanatory. But then there's just a lot that you kind of either you learn them eventually or you just don't. With all of that out of the way, I think that's most of it. Of course, you can do a lot based on landscape. If you're in the desert, you're probably somewhere like Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. If it's very mountainous, you might be in something like Colorado, Idaho, Montana. If it's very flat, you might be somewhere in the Midwest. If you've got, I don't know, if it's very hot, almost like I say hot, not like you could tell. If it's very like bright or almost Caribbean in sort of the landscape, you might be in something like Florida. If you've got a lot of European influences in naming of cities, you might be on the East Coast. If you've got sort of French sounding cities, you might be in Louisiana, and the list goes on and on. You could probably talk about specific US things that might help you in GeoGuessr for hours. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to get 25Ks. So we might as well start now. Challenge. And off we go. All right. That at least looks like something that might be pinpointable. The good thing as well in the United States is, considering it is a very large country, that we might have a bit more leeway than, 15 meters. On the other hand, it might take a while to figure out where we are. You can see here, they do have front license plates. Do they have them on all vehicles? It's kind of hard to tell here. This is very helpful. A lot of the highway interstate signs will have the state on them depending on the state. This is Oklahoma, as it says on the sign. Also, if you look at the interstate numbers, usually if it's 3 digits, then the interstate is somewhere near the interstate with the last 2 of the 3 digits. In this case, the 244 is probably somewhere near the 44. I'll have to look and see where it actually is. There's also the 412. These two are both unique on a national level. You'll probably later see some county roads or state roads that aren't unique. There's the 240. 44 goes here. There's the 244. There's the 412. So we're probably somewhere in Tulsa. Okay. Knowing that, what do we have here? The Admiral Plaza place? I don't know, in the Harvard Avenue. Harvard Avenue, the one going north-south, and I always forget Admiral, going east-west. So we can have a bit of a look around. That's Denver. That's something different. Gilcrease Museum Road. This is also a great name. It looks like there's the Admiral Boulevard. Almost. It looks like this intersection is to our south. So it should be somewhere up here. In theory. In practice, we might not be. Where could we be? There's Harvard Avenue. It's good. Is that? No, that's Apache Street. That is Pine Street. The arches. There's Admiral. Okay, and we only walked south. So we'll just go to this intersection, which has Harvard Avenue that we know already. And what's the side street? Is it just Independence Street? All right, that was up here. So we're a bit north from that. In the other direction, we have a road that goes off right here, which is called King Street. It's very close to a starting point. And then we count houses. Basically, there's one house right here on King Street, then there's 2. Then there's 3 is the White House, and 4 is this red house. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're between these 2 red houses. So here we go, off to the next round, which places us in a city again. Always helpful. There'll be a country in, I think it's something like 3 weeks, where we won't get to see many cities. That was slightly frustrating to play. I'm not entirely sure why I recorded this before. Why I recorded it before this, but yeah, that's gonna be fun. Trenton, New Jersey. Also, a tip that I can give you generally. There's 2 countries that this is very useful for because they often abbreviate states with 2 letters: the United States and Brazil. If you're ever unsure what the state code is referring to, like if you're looking in Brazil or in the US, especially in the US with states that start with MI specifically, because you've got Minnesota, Missouri, Michigan, and Mississippi. And, zoom out to at a particular zoom level. It's this very specific one, this one here. you see the 2-letter codes. In this case, if you see MI, it's Michigan. NJ, of course, New Jersey down here. That's just very useful to know if you didn't beforehand. And there's Trenton. Okay. 1001, let's just look at these. East State Street and South Cook Avenue. There's East State Street. And South Cook Avenue is here exactly. And we're not too far away from that. So let's see what this is. We've got Hampton Avenue and Walnut Avenue. Okay, there's Walnut. Now we just need to find, there's Hampton. And we came from the northeast. And from the intersection, these houses are all together, so it's hard to tell. There's this little house here, and then there's this double. Then there's like one small space here, and then there's the singular house. It's really difficult to tell. Where's the gap on the north? They're actually in this gap. I think that sort of might fit. But I think there's no other place where this gap would fit to the north. Yeah, anywhere else. You don't have a gap such as this. You've got this small house, actually, I can count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Perfect. Off we go into round 3. Okay, this might be a bit more interesting. We've got at least a road that goes below to pinpoint, and we're on a bridge. Can I go off the bridge? Probably not. Right here. What do we have here? Blurry. Beautiful. The United States no blurry map is unfortunately only blurry as long as you don't move to the other side of the road. What do we have here? Sydney. That is one. First off, it's a county road. So these are not unique. Well, they're unique by county, but that's it. And secondly, they do have, actually, yeah, they do have unique shapes sometimes. I actually think that county roads, now that I think about it, county roads are a lot of the times like just either circular, but that might have even been like something like elliptical, or squares or rectangles. I don't actually remember. I think they're rectangles. But yeah, from this, we can't really tell much. We can tell something from the landscape. You could obviously tell more than me if you were better at the United States. Okay, we've got some green signs. Yeah, green signs are always good. Canada and Hatfield could be the country of Canada. I don't think it is. What do we have here? Belfry, Williams, and Sydney. I recognize Sydney, but oh, there's a 114. The thing is, I'm just going to quickly check like somewhere over here, like Washington, if we can find the 119. These, okay, that's what I thought. These US highways do follow a system. Generally, if you look at the at the last digit, not necessarily the second one, if it's uneven, they'll go north-south, and if it's even, they'll go west-east. North-south roads, so the uneven ones, start in the east and increase in number generally, and the even numbers start in the north and increase in number towards the south. This is not 100% fail-safe, because as you can see right here, I forgot where there, 52. That doesn't look like it should be the 52 because it's like very north. But at the same time, I can promise you that probably starts somewhere like pretty far south, and it just goes throughout the whole country, which is why, you know, it is so far north in the end here. I don't actually 100% know how to find three-digit ones. I suspect that it is the same as with the interstates, that they're probably relatively close to the last 2 digits of the number. In this case, just, you know, It might be, but I can't guarantee it. And I can find the 219, which was somewhere up here. There's the 119 actually. Found it. Now the problem with that is it might go on for a long time. I can look through it a bit. It switches into the 219 up here. The other problem is that a lot of the time these roads just change number and then become the road again way later. So it's just hard to find or to really pin them down sometimes. But for now we'll stay here and we'll see what more we can find. We'll just drive around a bit. What was that one? It's like this little green sign, probably just a mile marker. Yeah, just tells me we're on the 119 on that specific mile. I was never really any good at making much use of that information, unfortunately. Okay, yeah, I need to be careful not to go to this side of the road, because it will not help. This is sort of... Okay, what do we have? Belfry Stone, something like McAndrews. This is sort of like the area I was thinking it could be, like somewhere in this sort of general area. If not there, then somewhere up here, but I checked and it's not up there, obviously, because it's the 119. But just figuring out where exactly is problematic if you can't find the towns themselves. And I can't seem to find any of them. It changes from the 119 exactly here. No, it doesn't. It goes on past here. It stops here. No, it doesn't. It goes on over here. It then goes up here. And it continues. There's Ernest. Didn't we see Ernest? We saw the Ernest Cochrane Bridge. I remember that much. But that might not have anything to do with where we are right now, unfortunately. What else do we have over here? There's Sandy, which is not quite Sydney. Okay, the 119 stops here. Could continue on somewhere else. So let's check it out further to the south as well, if we can spot any of the cities we found. It goes through here. And then goes down here. I can't see Sydney anywhere. I can't see Stone or Belfry. Further down here. Into Morgantown, then through Morgantown. There's not a lot of cities down here. Down here. And then it stops here. At least I think it does. And then it continues down here. There's Carrollton, Volga, Century, and others. Then it goes over here. Lynn, Baldwin, Glenville. Spencer, Speed, Cotton. Yeah, it goes all the way across a very long part of the United States. Mount Gay, Shamrock, of course. And a lot of the time it's just, there it is. There's Sydney and there's Canada. Yeah. And a lot of the time, as you saw before, when I went down here, I lost the 119 somewhere around Morgantown, I think. So unless you are very concentrated and very far zoomed in, it's very easy to lose the number and just not realize that it continues somewhere else. But alas, we found Sydney and we're right here. At least that's what I think, because there's the Gulf gas station to our south. Now it's just a question of how exactly do we match up with that road. I think the road goes past us slightly to our west, but not far. It's somewhere like here. And I don't think we can change much in our position to make this any more accurate. So I think we're just going to go for this. Oh, we're on off. What am I doing? Of course, we're on the south side. Again, this is not quite where we are, actually. It definitely doesn't make sense, but close enough. And yeah, it's just a slight bit more leeway. We managed to get within the required distance or required proximity to get a full 5K. And we're back in the city again. Amsterdam, Dubuque. Okay. Dubuque area chamber. All right, what do we have here? Dubuque, Iowa. That is very helpful. Let's just put it here for now. Dubuque. Where exactly is it? There it is. I was just about to say we had some water over here, which was wrong anyway, because I just completely imagined some water there. But yeah, here it is. And we've probably got some intersections right there. West 3rd Street and Main Street. So we're down here somewhere. There's 4th, there's 3rd Street, and there's Main Street. And we're south of that in front of Fine European Chocolates. The venue. A bit further down from the venue, actually. McCoy Jeweler. Is that this? Yeah, that's McCoy. Somewhere between here, that actually might fit very well. We're actually further south, right here. Make the guess and move on. Did I miss? I missed the right button. Move on to round 5. US flag was right there. All right, there's the 404. That's kind of what I meant. I think that's a state road and not a country road, wherever it went. This one. So that could tell you a lot, considering it's that's an ellipsis still. But I don't know which states use those. But you've got the highway number 13, which might be very useful. It at least tells you that we're on the east, probably even relatively close to the east coast. And just from the feeling I get the feeling that we're somewhere very, like, far over there. Almost like in Maine somewhere. But looking at it, we're actually a bit further west. We've got the 11 here. And if you want to go to the 13, you can look somewhere like here. But mostly, we don't quite know yet. I think that sign just said we're in Bridgewell, which might be useful later on. But I just don't really know how big it is. So I don't want to spend all the time looking for it on the map. I'd rather find some more city names around somewhere, or something that confirms the state to us. That would also be quite nice. Here you see, for example, 302. I'm not sure if that's an area code. It might be. I only really trust area codes if I definitely know it is one, or if it has brackets around them, or around it. Bridgewell and Federalsburg. Federalsburg is right here. So actually, pretty much like my random pinpoint somewhere along the 13 was pretty much exactly where we are. No big deal. Natural skill. All right. William Street and Delaware Avenue. And we're somewhere on the west side of that. There's Delaware. There's Williams on the west side. Bridgewell Museum Park, that's the first building. We're right here. Yep. Make the guess. And that's 25k in 19 minutes 15. Most of that time was spent in round 3. The other 4 rounds were, again, relatively easy rounds that were all in the middle of at least towns, if not cities. But yeah, that was a lot easier than I thought, again. And I had quite a lot of fun in that, actually. this one certainly, if you're trying to speedrun, US non-blurry, this is not the kind of location you want to get. At that point, it kind of runs over, pretty much. Although it is fairly easy to pinpoint, at least it had that going for it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching it. Thanks for doing so, and I'll see you next time. Bye.